A friend for the nation, but his own friend as a leader is most recognized by Almighty Allah and accepted.
President Muhammadu Buhari leads others to pray for Nigeria as he performs the Lesser Hajj.
I must change the story of its cities and urban settlements from one of chaos, informality, and squalor.
Look inward for resources to enhance sustainable development, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo tells Africans at the Habitat 3 regional meeting in Abuja. House of Representatives calls for the suspension of the proposed speed limit devised by the Federal Road Safety Commission. And celebrating a political colossus, former President Shehu Shagari at 91. A warm welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Elizabeth Banu. Thank you for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has performed Umrah, otherwise known as Lesser Hajj, an important religious activity of immense value in Islam. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that prayers for Nigeria took center stage.
Kaaba, the most sacred site of the Muslim world, a place where Umrah or the Lesser Hajj is performed. President Muhammadu Buhari took time off his busy schedule in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to undertake this act of great significance for the sake of Allah. Joined by the governors of Zamfara, Oshun, Ogun, Borno and Katsina states, 4 traditional rulers, including the Emir of Kano and Oba of Lagos, as well as some ulamas, the president, in line with the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, performed tawaf, meaning the circumambulation of the Kaaba, as well as sa'i, that is going between the 2 mountains of Safa and Marwa. Like Hajj, the act of Umrah is amongst the best deeds Muslims can perform when pleasing Allah. In fact, it is an act in which he considers the performer to be answering his call, and therefore, apart from the bountiful rewards therefrom and forgiveness of committed sins, all the requests made here are believed to be answered. And this was the great opportunity President Muhammadu Buhari and his delegation utilized to offer prayers for Nigeria.
It's actually his own personal spiritual journey and an opportunity for him to pray for the country and pray for peace and for progress.
We know so many Muslims are friend for the nation, but his own friend as a leader is most recognized by Almighty Allah and accepted.
The president has thrown everything into the job. He is doing the most that any human being can do, trying to restore the economy, working on the restoration of security in the country, fighting corruption, behind which there are enormous powers. The president needs God, the nation needs God, so that God of creation would support the good work that the new administration is doing in order to restore, to revive the nation.
We all prayed for Nigeria. We prayed for the government. We prayed that peace really returns to Nigeria, that our economy bounces back again, and that we have sustainable development in the country, and that the unity of this country strengthens the more, and that we live in peace, stability, and harmony.
Umrah can be performed by Muslims that can afford as many times as possible. From Mecca, Saudi Arabia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has welcomed the offer by the Islamic Development Bank, IDB, to organize a financing roundtable in Abuja to mobilize funds for investment and development of infrastructure in Nigeria. He was responding to an offer by the president of the Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Ahmed Mohammed, when he met with him. The president, at another meeting with the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, IOC, said government will appreciate the support to rehabilitate parts of the country affected by insurgency. Back home in Nigeria, Africa should begin to look inwards for core resources to propel her development and end her dependence on foreign partners. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo gave the advice while declaring open the Habitat 3 Africa Regional Meeting in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi has details.
The Habitat 3 African Regional Meeting is said to be coming at a very crucial time for the history of urbanization worldwide, and especially for Africa. This is so, as stated by organizers, the first time in the history of development, urbanization is considered as a tool for development and an engine room for growth and prosperity, as against being seen as a challenge in the past. To Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, whose belief and advocate has always been for people to see challenge as opportunity, sees this as another way of opening up the grassroots to development, to close the disparity between the rich and the poor, and through the development of infrastructure, create a safe environment for the people.
Africa must change the story of its cities and urban settlements from one of chaos, informality, and squalor into a positive one of planning, tranquility, and environmental sustainability. In doing so, we can glean lessons from other parts of the world while remaining fully conscious of Africa's commonalities and peculiarities, and using them to propel our urban agenda.
Africa has unique challenges when it comes to the issue of the environment and even economy. So also is the unique opportunity which speakers, that includes the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, urged urban developers and policymakers to explore.
Well, it is another call here on African countries to collaborate with the rest of the world to ensure that practical and pragmatic effects are given to provisions in their constitutions regarding housing and urban development. From the International Conference Center here in Abuja, Jide Onifadi.
Meanwhile, delegates to the Habitat 3 Africa Regional Meeting have called for the articulation of a common stand from the continent that will ensure renewed commitment to sustainable urban development. Mohammed Hamza Sheikh has the details of presentations from member countries.
Global efforts at tackling the challenges of human settlement started in 1976 when the United Nations General Assembly convened the Habitat 1 Conference in Vancouver. 20 years later, the second Habitat Conference was held in Istanbul, focusing on sustainable cities and adequate shelter for all. Unfortunately for the African continent, it was neither represented at the first two conferences nor its challenges of human settlement taken into account. As the world prepares for the third Habitat Conference later this year, Nigeria is leading other African countries in articulating a strong declaration to the conference.
We can't provide solutions to problems we do not analyze in more detail. And we need to get into those slums to understand what is the driver. Why do 200 people suddenly settle on this stage? What are they looking for?
And they need to adopt an integrated and holistic approach in building institutions and engagement with all stakeholders.
If we do not come together and to harness our information, there's no way we can come up with a voice. That is what this conference is all about.
Presentations from delegates are expected to form the Abuja Declaration on Habitat 3. Muhammad Hamza Sheikh, NTA News.
And poor financing and systematic failure are said to be the major hindrance to the provision of affordable housing on the African continent. This was the position of guests who featured on NTA's News and Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, while discussing housing and sustainable development in Africa. Joy Uzo reports.
The intention is a good one, on the part of the federal government itself to build these houses. But really, doing it right has been the consistent problem in this country.
According to the guests, if the Agenda 2030 of reducing poverty is to be attained, it should start with getting rid of the slums in Africa. And this can be attained with government funding and making housing available, affordable and accessible to the people. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The civil society organizations are to be involved in the budgeting process to ensure inclusiveness and transparency in the nation's financial dealings. This followed the adoption of the report of the Senate Committee on Civil Society and Diaspora. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Garba reports that the Senate also received the report of its Ethics Committee, which recommended a warrant of arrest on former EFCC chairman Ibrahim Lamurdi.
For the first time, the Senate invited more than 90 civil society organizations to discuss the 2016 budget proposals with the legislators. The resolutions of the interactive session recommended many adjustments in the budget which will add value to the estimate. Receiving the report of the chairman Senate Committee on Civil Society and Diaspora, Senator Rose Oko, the lawmakers said most of the recommendations have been overtaken by events. The organizations will be actively involved in budgeting process in the future.
In order to strengthen and build a sustainable partnership with civil society organizations, budget hearings with CSOs should be done on an annual basis.
We are moving more towards a more transparent and openness. And also, as we observe, the budget is not only just for us in Parliament, it also gives an opportunity for the general public. And that is why it's important on the executive part that these budgets come early enough.
The lawmakers also received briefings from the Senate Committee on Ethics and Public Petitions on the alleged diversion of more than 1 trillion naira by the former EFCC chairman Ibrahim Lamurdi. The recommendation of the committee for the Senate to issue warrant of arrest on the former EFCC boss was thrown back to the committee.
So what is required here is for the committee to issue a warrant of arrest, and then the Senate President will direct the police to effect the arrest. It is not the business of the Senate sitting in plenary to do so, otherwise we'll be offending this part of the Constitution.
Even does not need to come to the plenary. It should be left at the level of the rules and business and in accordance to Section 89 of the Constitution.
2 bills on the amendment of the Deep Offshore and Inlet Basin Sharing Contract and that for the establishment of Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine are matters connected with by Senators Theodore Oji and Sonny Oboji passed second reading. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
Still at the National Assembly, a talk in health, Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki has decried the spread of lead poisoning in Niger State, leading to the death of 28 children. He stated this when he received the representatives of Doctors Without Borders at the National Assembly. Here again is Abdullahi Garba Kudu.
Which occurred as a result of small-scale mining was first recorded in Zamfara State with many children killed. This time around, the case is being reported in Rafin local government area of Niger State. The Senate President called for immediate action by the federal and state governments following the increasing number of deaths.
We need to begin to also identify where are these areas in the country where gold mining is resulting to lead poisoning. And as he said, we cannot stop them because unfortunately the poverty, this is the only source of income you find out. It is how we need to improve and make mining safer.
Meanwhile, the Senate President has hosted Council of Mining and Geosciences Society of Nigeria, led by its President Professor Bienga Okolola. The Senate President restated the Senate's commitment in supporting the executive for the sustenance of the long-term economic policies.
What I want to assure you, whatever we can do as government, either regard laws, regard policies, we are prepared to do that.
The amount of gold that is being exported illegally out of Nigeria, it will surprise many of us. Tantalite, there was a time Nigeria was one of the highest supplier of tantalite to the whole world.
Nigeria is rated among the 10 world resource countries. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
The plan by the Federal Road Safety Commission to implement the compulsory use of speed limit device in Nigeria has been criticized by the House of Representatives. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the House has therefore resolved that the policy be suspended.
In a motion moved by Representative Philip Shaibu from Edo State, is worried that the speed limiter being introduced by the Commission has been tested and abandoned in some African countries due to its inherent dangers.
It's a technology that not only outdated, but it will create security challenges for our people.
Members also resolved to intervene in the planned industrial action by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, with a view to averting it.
This issue of ISU strike is something that I don't want to see as a person because it distorts our academic calendar. And so all hands must be on deck to ensure that it doesn't happen.
A bill to amend the River Basin Development Authority Act, which seeks to provide proper utilization of Nigerian dams, sponsored by Representative Musa Ada from Sokoto State and others, passed second reading.
For the establishment of the Lower Anambra and Upper Niger River Basin Development Authorities and list them in the first schedule to the Act.
Let us involve the relevant department of the state.
The House also passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish the National Biotechnology Development Agency, sponsored by Representative Estefanus Gyang from Plateau State.
Among benefits of this biotechnology are enormous, like I've said, and indeed include capacity for enhanced food security.
2 new members were sworn in. They are Representative Talatu Yohana of the All Progressive Congress, APC, representing Demsa Numan Lamode, Federal Constituency of Adamawa State. She replaced Kwamoti Lowry of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, in a rerun election. Representative Ismaila Hassan of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, representing Ako Federal Constituency of Gombe State, defeated Umaru Barambu of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in a by-election. The event was witnessed by the governor of Adamawa State, Muhammadu Jibril Abindo. Meanwhile, the House has announced that it will pass the 2016 appropriation bill before the second week of March. The Chairman House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Abdulrazak Namdas, stated this while reviewing activities of the House within the week.
In fact, the Appropriation Committee is looking at the possibility of having the bill passed not later than the second week of March.
He assured Nigerians that the House will remain committed from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has sought the support of former members of the House of Representatives to enable them succeed in their legislative duties. He made the request when he granted audience to a delegation of legislators who served in 1992-93, who came to appeal for the payment of their outstanding entitlements.
To be candid, I wouldn't want to see that anybody has been shortchanged. It has always been said that justice is indivisible. What is justice to the interim president as at that time must be justice to you. What is justice to other officers who served at that time must be justice to you. And it doesn't serve the national interest for us to administer this justice selectively.
As at November 25 last year, we have lost 107 of our members. Their families, God knows how they are subsisting. It is our plan to start an endowment, if only to help the families of these fallen colleagues.
The Speaker also seized the opportunity to remind serving members of their role as true representatives of the Nigerian people. The federal government has expressed satisfaction with the desire of the Lagos State government to revive the National Museum on Nikon in Lagos. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this shortly after a facility tour of the museum. Anthony Forson reports.
The minister, who was accompanied on the tour by Lagos State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Folarinso Folarinkoka, expressed surprise at the rate of decay in the museum.
But see what we this is not National Museum. That's kind of wire.
It's difficult to ask somebody for a collection of paintings worth $500 million naira to put it in any of the structures. And those collections exist in Lagos as well.
I know.
So, of particular interest is the volume of school children who visit the museum every day to learn more of their heritage, saying with the new partnership with Lagos State government, it will translate to a new beginning for the young generation.
We ensure that no bureaucracy will stand in the way of making this a reality. If only for the sake of those children. You can see they are eager to learn about their heritage. You can see it's a busy place. I'm told that some days we have about 600 students coming in here. We must encourage them. We must make this another hub.
The oneness of Nigeria that we have always sought, and that is what has played out here, where the minister has come and met with the governor, and they have decided to take what is a national treasure and asset and put it where it is supposed to be.
The Nigerian National Museum is expected to be the repository for the collection of notable Nigerian arts, including pieces of statues, carvings, archaeological and anthropographic exhibits. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Still in Lagos, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has unveiled plans to host a culture and tourism summit as moves to reposition the sector for sustainable economic development. He made this known when he was received by the Lagos State Governor, Akinwumi Ambode. Here again is Anthony Forson.
Describing tourism as a huge revenue earner for countries that have developed their sector, the minister said the summit is specifically designed to come up with an achievable roadmap that will help drive the nation's tourism in line with best global practices.
We must start thinking about how do we remove the barriers militating against culture and tourism as revenue earners, for the state. And this is where one area that will be the Lagos State government has a very good experience, and they will assist us.
He commended Lagos State government for putting in place facilities that help tourism to thrive.
The first requirement for tourism and culture to flourish is security. A few years ago, all the entertainment centers used to close at 7 p.m. That was before Lagos State started the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, which has made Lagos State the safest city in Nigeria today.
Governor Akinwumi Ambode said culture is the vehicle upon which a people's asset is driven. Therefore, combining culture and tourism is a brilliant idea that must be pursued to its logical conclusion. In addition, he said, Lagos State government plans to invest over 24 billion naira into the entertainment industry over a period of 4 years.
Using that fund also, we'll be creating art studios, we'll be creating recording center, business incubators, and also to create, we don't want our artists to be recording their works in South Africa. We can do it here. That's where we're going. And then, they can do it 24/7, and that creates a lot of energy amongst these younger ones. Lagos at 50 is coming up next year, so we're in dire need of monuments and iconic structures.
The governor agreed to partner with the federal government to modernize the National Museum ahead of the May 2017 50th anniversary of Lagos State's creation. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Former President of Nigeria in the Second Republic, Shehu Aliyu Usman Shagari, is 91 years old today. To mark his birthday, special prayers were offered at his residence in Sokoto. Dabi Ilela Dabori has the report.
Who is among Nigeria's astute leaders, today clocks 91 years in life. Despite old age and cumulative schedules, the former president still maintained an active and prominent role in managing the affairs of some educationally oriented institutions. With all this, Shehu Shagari is among the senior councillors of the Sultanate Council, with his daily role as Turakin Sokoto. It is against this background that this special prayer session was organized by relatives, friends, and well-wishers of the former president to rejoice with him and thank Allah. Former President of Nigeria in the Second Republic, Alhaji Shehu Usman Aliyu Shagari, thanked Almighty Allah for witnessing the occasion and the organizers for conducting the prayer session.
He was very honest, dedicated, a man of honor, a man of integrity, a man you will be very proud to work with.
Shehu Usman Aliyu Shagari is a prestigious leader who has achieved a lot.
Already, some prominent institutions were named after former President Shehu Shagari by the Sokoto State government, to include Shehu Shagari College of Education, Shehu Shagari World Institute for Leadership and Good Governance, and Shehu Shagari Gate at the main entrance of Sokoto Central Market and Shehu Shagari Way in Sokoto. In Sokoto, Jabiel Lila Dabure, NTA News.
Here's wishing former President Shagari good health. Ahead on the news tonight, anti-bomb unit of Adamawa State Police Command loses an assistant inspector superintendent of police and others to bomb blast. We'll bring you details in just a moment. Stay with us.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality-built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Our founding fathers worked to establish certain standards of governance. Some of their successors behaved like spoiled children, breaking everything and bringing disorder to the house.
The leaders at that time, as well as those of us that followed them, were patriotic. They went into politics to serve, but not to be served.
It is people doing things wrong and not being sanctioned that led to this escalation.
What is going on now? We are beginning to lift up the quality of leadership.
We must not succumb to hopelessness and defeatism. We can fix our problems.
Most people avoid the tough jobs. We're different. We're not here to complain that things are broken. We're here to fix them. You need someone that'll take the tough decisions and stand by their word. To do that, you need the best of the best. Physically, mentally. So it doesn't matter if it's creating opportunities or supporting economies. We know it's a tough job. But hey, somebody's got to do it. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
The Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Mina, Professor Musbawa Adewumi Akonji, invites the public to the university's 25th convocation ceremony for the investiture and conferment of honorary doctorate degree of science on His Royal Majesty Eze Eberechi Dik, JP Ezudo I of Mpoku Ngwa Amaisi, as Chancellor of the university, an award of first degrees, higher degrees, certificates, and prizes. Date, Saturday, 27th February 2016. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, Convocation Square, Main Campus. Convocation lecture, Friday, 26th February 2016 by 10 a.m. Mrs. Victoria Kulu, announcer.
Business Law Academy, in collaboration with International Project Finance Association, presents Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Conference 2016, an international investment promotion conference and exhibition. a high networking event that cuts across various sectors such as power, transportation, education, health, waste management, water resources, housing, logistics. Venue is the Congress Hall, Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. Date 15th and 16th of March 2016. To register, visit. For inquiries, call. Endorsed by Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Conference 2016. Accelerating investment in Nigeria's infrastructure.
The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, invites all pro-chancellors and members of the newly reconstituted governing councils of the 12 new federal universities to the inauguration of the new councils. Date, Tuesday, 1st March 2016. Venue, National Universities Commission Auditorium. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. For details, please see The Guardian, This Day, and Daily Trust newspapers of Friday, 26th February 2016. Dr. Folashade Yemieson, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
When you look at the world today, what do you see? The obvious, or much more? Do you hear a color tune, or the talents of thousands paying off? Do you see an instant message or millions of strengthened relationships? Do you see an app or creative entrepreneurs? An email or multiples of successful business transactions? Do you see charity or renewed faith in our shared humanity? Do you hear the laughter of millions of people in Africa's largest family? It's never enough to see only what's before us. That's why MTN is empowering a tomorrow that's driven by digital technology and made for Africa by Africans.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. Not less than 3 people, including an assistant superintendent of police, were killed and 38 others injured as a result of a bomb explosion at the anti-bomb unit of the Adamawa State Police Command. Ladibala reports that the explosives were evacuated recently from some insurgency-affected areas and dumped at the anti-bomb unit for a record taken before destruction. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has directed Dangote Group to remove all wrecks of its accidented and broken down vehicles littering the nation's highways by the 31st of March 2016. The Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi gave the directive during an interactive session with representatives of the company at the Corps headquarters in Abuja. Isaac Nkuma reports.
Statistics of road traffic crashes on Nigerian highways in the last 3 years revealed that Dangote trucks were involved in 180 accidents, killing 191 people, including a road safety official. This meeting tagged result-oriented collaboration for effective fleet management, the Corps Marshal said, is not to indict the group, but to discuss how the menace can be addressed and a plan for zero-crash operations of their fleet of vehicles implemented.
Whatever it takes, we must decide today and ensure all these things are removed, and subsequent standard operating procedure with Dangote, if anything occurs, what is to be done is to resolve this issue for us to move forward.
To this end, the FRSC says it will enforce penalties for violation of axle load while directing the group to ensure that the speed limit device is installed on its fleet of trucks, as well as implements the FRSC safety manual for its operations, among others.
We will ensure full implementation of all the agreements that are reached in this meeting, and the implementation will be monitored directly from his office.
The meeting also had representatives from the offices of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the National Security Advisor, and the Department of State Security in attendance. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
The National Integrated Power Project and Bureau of Public Enterprises have commenced dialogue with investors on transaction closure planning under the first phase privatization for the sale of Omotosho, Geregu and Calabar power plants. Hamza Musa Makarfi reports.
The meetings in the past few days have been segmented based on the interest by investors and individual power generation assets of the National Integrated Power Project. It is aimed at identifying peculiar issues and challenges with a view to taking a definite course of action.
I can say gladly today that many of the problems that led to the process being stalled have been addressed. One of the things, however, is that we will not deceive ourselves by putting 10 power plants in the markets at once. Hitherto, we did that because we were informed that there was enough gas to go and there's enough transmission evacuation to drive the process.
The proposed sale of generation assets by the NIPP is in tune with the nation's deregulated power sector and the need to reinvest proceeds in other critical power sector development of the nation. 80% share will be owned by the private sector, while the balance of 20 is to be owned by the government. In Abuja, Hamza Musa Makarfi, NTA News.
Revamping Nigeria's economy calls for inward commitment through production of goods and services that will serve Nigerians. Senator Sam Egu and Comrade Isaac Aremu made the suggestions on NTA's current affairs program, Moment for Thought.
Incidentally, we have as a people acquired a very unsustainable lifestyle over time.
The fight against corruption cannot be left to the community that everybody is a loser in corruption. Yes. Nobody is a winner.
Moment for Thought comes up tonight at 10:30 on the NTA network service. The Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee sitting in Abuja has derobed another lawyer for engaging in fraudulent activities and unprofessional conduct. This is part of the directions of the committee, which ended its first session of sittings for 2016 this Thursday. NTA's legal correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
Afam Ofomata, an Ikeja-based legal practitioner, was said to have collected 5.9 million naira from one Ikenna Ofoma to buy a piece of land. Instead, he then forged a deed of assignment, pretending to have bought the land. When he was asked to return the money, he gave a Dutch check. Afam, who did not attend today's sitting, was found guilty of infamous conduct in breach of the legal practitioner's rule of professional conduct. He now has his name struck out of the roll of legal practitioners in Nigeria. In another case, Tajuddin Karim, also based in Lagos, would have his legal practice suspended for 5 years for fraudulently procuring a judgment by deceiving the Chief Judge of Lagos State in a letter into believing that there was no application before the Court of Appeal on that matter, thereby unlawfully securing the execution of a judgment. About 8 other cases were prosecuted during this session. Their directions will be delivered in April. Meanwhile, the membership of the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee has been increased to 11, with former President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Joseph Daudu, remaining the chairman. President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bukachua, remains a member, along with the presiding Justice of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, Justice Galinje, and the Attorneys General of Plateau, Delta, Rivers, and Kaduna States, part of the 11-member panel. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
And addressing bank fraud is the focus of the next report from Lagos, and Abdullahi is our guide. Hello, Abdullahi, it's over to you.
Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us in Lagos, and good evening. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, is stepping up efforts in the process of investigation and prosecution of those that contributed to the failure of some banks prior to consolidation. To this end, the management of the NDIC had a closed-door meeting with the Commissioner of Police Special Fraud Investigation Unit with a view to fast-tracking the process. Recovery of assets and stolen funds of failed banks, as well as the prosecution of those involved in fraud and mismanagement of the bank's funds, can only be successful when proper investigations are carried out.
To make sure that those who contribute to the downfall of some of our insured institutions, the banks, be they microfinance banks or primary mortgage banks or deposit money banks, do not go scot-free.
This informed the meeting of the Managing Director of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC), Malam Umar Ibrahim, with Commissioner of Police in charge of the Police Special Fraud Investigation Unit.
So that there will be efficiency and comprehensiveness in terms of investigation and eventual prosecution of such cases.
The Commissioner of Police Special Fraud Investigation Unit, Anthony Michael, said the meeting has consolidates the synergy between the NDIC and the unit. He emphasized that this will give room for a better information gathering process that will make for prosecution of culprits.
The visit has enabled us to interact and then iron out areas that will move the investigation as far as our investigation of failed banks is concerned.
The NDIC said it is committed to ensuring that anyone found guilty of any form of financial crime that led to the failure of the banks are brought to book. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has debunked the claims by the Association of Former Staff of Non-Consolidated Banks in Nigeria, describing it as misleading. In a statement by the head of Communication and Public Affairs, it said that contrary to the claims, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and NDIC had at no time made any promise to pay the former staff their terminal benefits, following the inability of the banks to merge with other banks in the course of the consolidation exercise of the government in 2006. It added that the CBNs revoked the operating licenses of their banks, which subsequently went into liquidation, pursuant to the provision of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 1999 and the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation Act 2006. It further stated that in accordance with the provisions on priority of claims as provided for under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1999 and other relevant statutes, the claim of the former staff for payment of their terminal benefits were classified as creditor claims. And that ends the news from Lagos. Network News continues with Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you, Abdullahi. And the Central Bank of Nigeria directs resolution of all bank verification number-related issues within 5 days. We'll bring you details when we return. Stay with us.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Every day, more and more people are waking up to a more advanced toothpaste. A toothpaste that's already improving the oral health of millions of Nigerians. A toothpaste that's committed to making Nigeria's teeth healthier and stronger. That toothpaste is Oral-B Pro Health. Unlike regular toothpaste, its advanced fluoride technology gives you better protection against bacteria and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. So come on, join us today. Oral-B Pro Health for healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week.
Why are you filming, Mommy?
To help people stop getting sick. People think it's the ever-changing weather during Harmattan that makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including flu.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap.
with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55 gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien, kidnapping is criminal, cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria Police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
Central Bank of Nigeria directs money deposit banks to resolve all BVN-related issues within 5 days. Here is Vivian Idekpefo with details on business news.
A very warm welcome to the business news segment this hour. The 2016 budget is designed to have a 30% capital component that will boost the economy while providing infrastructural growth for investors to leverage on. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma, who stated this while exchanging views with the Nigerian Association of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, added that the federal government is fashioning policies that would encourage exports and boost domestic production.
The thrust of this government's approach is that the private sector is the engine of development. Our role is to provide the enabling environment.
Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria has directed all deposit money banks to resolve issues arising from the bank verification number within 5 days, granted that the customer has submitted all the required documents. The Apex Bank regulator says this has become imperative in view of the inability of some customers to link their BVN to their accounts due to discrepancies between records on the BVN database and those on the core banking applications. The CBN also directed that cases of change of name that are totally or partially different should only be allowed after the customer has produced supporting documents and should be reported to the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit as a suspicious transaction by the banks. And now a quick look at the capital market, where the all-share index gained 0.67% at the end of Thursday's trading session. That concludes business news. The bulletin continues. Good evening.
Thank you, Vivian. You're watching NTA Network News. Enugu State Governor moves to revitalize ailing industries. For details of this and more, let's join Ngozi in our Enugu Network Center. Hello, Ngozi, it's over to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Welcome to Enugu Network Center. In a bid to reinvigorate the economy of the state and boost its revenue base, the Enugu State Governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, has reconstituted 2 separate bodies on privatization and commercialization to revitalize the state-owned ailing industries. Chimabi Walter, Nigeria reports.
The committees reconstituted are the Enugu State Council on Commercialization and Privatization and the Enugu State Technical Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, headed by the State Deputy Governor, Mrs. Cecilia Ezilo, and an investment banker, Mr. Ikechi Chioke. Governor Ugwuanyi, while inaugurating the bodies at the Government House, Enugu, charged the members to swing into action and effectively spearhead the drive for credible and suitable investors to turn around the fortunes of the affected enterprises and companies for its inherent economic benefits to the state.
There is indeed no gainsaying the tremendous impact successful revitalization of the affected government-owned enterprise will have on the socio-economic profile of Enugu State.
The Deputy Governor, Mrs. Ezilo, thanked the governor for finding them worthy to serve in that capacity and assured him of their commitment to ensure that the set objectives of the council and the committee are actualized. It is expected that the inauguration of both committees will give fresh impetus to the current efforts by the government to attract direct foreign and local investments to the state as part of its commitment to turn the state into a major hub for economic activities in the country. In Enugu, Chimaobi Walter Nnaji, NTA News.
The Enugu state government has approved funds for actualization of the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, and another 30 million naira for Enugu Rangers International Football Club as sing-on fees for its players and officials from 2012 to date as a part of requirements for the 2016 football season. Again, Chimaobi Walter Nnaji reports.
The approval, which was given during the Enugu State Executive Council meeting, is geared towards giving Enugu Rangers a new look to enable it win laurels for the state and improve sports development in the state.
Over time, we always had Rangers players. In fact, we had only 5 out of the 35 players that we had last season, that are Rangers players. All the rest were on loan. So we want to make sure that the era of having players on loan is over.
The Commissioner for Information, Dr. Godwin Udewele, said Council also approved the total sum of 600 million naira for her 2015 Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, for its track project in the areas of health and water sector. He further explained that with this approval, many health centers will be renovated and new ones constructed.
And by so doing, the problems associated with health institutions and water problems in Enugu State will be ameliorated, courtesy of this approval.
According to the Commissioner, many boreholes under the arrangement will be constructed and non-functional existing ones in some villages will be rehabilitated. In Enugu, Chimaobi Walter Nnaji, NTA News.
That's all from Enugu Network Center. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja for continuation of the news.
Thank you, Ngozi. The Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry has identified and rewarded exceptional demonstration of innovation by companies whose ideas have contributed to the nation's socio-economic advancement. This was part of the 2016 Excellence Awards dinner for the Chamber held in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji reports.
One of the fastest growing chambers of commerce in the country, with a membership strength of about 2,000, the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry hinges its Excellence Award on a comprehensive analysis of an industry player's ability to discharge its corporate social responsibility with no direct benefit to the organization. A lofty ideal which the guest speaker, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, extolled.
The path of excellence is justified by action, and only excellent organizations strive for excellence. To attain excellence, therefore, we must always find ways to innovate, improve, and do more, even in the midst of challenges.
Excellence for the private sector in Abuja therefore means that the city of Abuja and the managers of the city must make this city a low-cost city for business. It means that they must provide the enablers that reduce the cost of doing business.
Leading brands that received awards include Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, which was recognized for spearheading elimination of gas flaring and touching lives through numerous university support programs. Most innovative business idea of the year went to Airtel Networks Limited for quality internet services and Dangote Cement PLC, a manufacturing giant.
We have the most pocket-friendly, most efficient, and most reliable data services. The DNA of Airtel is not a quitting DNA.
In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji, NTA News.
A bit on sports and developments around the world after this time out. Stay with us.
Does your
antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid. Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. Dettol is the #1 selling antiseptic liquid, proven to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So why take a risk with your loved ones?
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
So, Afana, not to do so. Na promo. You step on become millionaire. You never hear say now that don't bring wetin they call mobile authentication service. We go help us know whether medicine na fake or not before we pay. Now come see. As I scratch this thing wey be like recharge card so, come send the pin to 38353 free of charge. I will call receive text message to confirm. Okay, original. Choy. Just like that, we confirm whether medicine is fake or not instant. That way you self don't wise up. Make you help not and spread the story. Not the way that. Madam, come and take your money.
Now, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, they bring on this message.
Up next is Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezerike.
5 heads of state, including President Jacob Zuma of South Africa, are in Burundi as part of international effort to end the country's political crisis. There are, however, concerns that the issue of deploying a peacekeeping force in Burundi is not on the agenda, as earlier suggested by the African Union to send 5,000 peacekeepers to restore stability. Similarly, the United Nations Chief Ban Ki-moon is in South Sudan to strengthen an existing peace deal that is hoped will end 2 years of civil war in the country. Elsewhere, Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta on a state visit to Israel cautions Kenyans against corruption and wants them to learn from how well Israel is run. And research on Ebola by doctors from U.S. National Institute of Health has shown that most people who survive the illness will have long-lasting health problems. This is based on his studies in Liberia, where large numbers of the survivors had developed weakness, memory loss, and depressive symptoms within the first 6 months of discharge from an Ebola unit. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
And up next is Sports Update with Kene Imabudike.
Head coach of Nigeria's Flamingos, Bala Nikius,